Russia thought they had Ukraine figured out. Same vehicles, same tactics, same vulnerabilities, easy targets. But then something rolled off a Ukrainian production line that stopped military analysts cold. A brand new armored personnel carrier, built from the ground up on Ukrainian soil, tough enough to make even US defense experts do a double take. It's called the Skiff, and it might just be the vehicle that changes how this war is fought on the ground. Now, before we get into what makes this thing so formidable, you need to understand the problem it was built to solve, because it's a problem that has been costing Ukrainian lives for years. Ukraine's ground forces have long depended on the American-made M113 armored personnel carrier to move troops, supplies, ammunition, and wounded soldiers across some of the most dangerous terrain on the planet. And to be fair, the M113 is no joke. It entered US Army service in the early 1960s, replacing the older M59, and it proved itself almost immediately. When American forces deployed it in Vietnam starting in April 1962, it became the most widely used armored vehicle in that entire conflict. Its rugged chassis could smash through dense jungle, overwhelm enemy positions, and keep soldiers alive in situations where nothing else could. Decades later, more advanced platforms like the Bradley M2 and M3 stepped in to take over frontline combat roles, but the M113 never truly left the picture. It adapted. Today, US Army Heavy Brigade combat teams still operate around 6,000 of them in roles ranging from mortar carrier to armored ambulance to command vehicle. Altogether, an estimated 80,000 vehicles across the broader M113 family are deployed in more than 50 countries worldwide. Ukraine is one of those countries. Since the war began, Kyiv has received at least 1,700 M113s, 900 directly from the United States, with hundreds more coming from the Netherlands, Portugal, Australia, Germany, Spain, Denmark, Lithuania, and Belgium. That makes it one of the most common Western armored vehicles on the entire Eastern Front. And soldiers like it. It can hit speeds of around 42 miles per hour. Its track system eats through mud, rough terrain, and soft soil without breaking a sweat. It can even swim its watertight hull, lets it cross rivers and streams without needing to hunt for a bridge, which in a fast-moving battle can save hours of critical time. Ukrainian mechanics have praised how easy it is to maintain, joking that its powertrain feels similar to what you'd find inside a John Deere tractor. Spare parts are easy to source because there are so many of these things in the world. All of that makes the M113 genuinely useful, even in 2026. But here's the brutal reality. The M113 was designed for a different era of warfare. Back when it launched, its aluminum hull was considered revolutionary, lighter than anything that came before it, which helped with speed and mobility. In a world where the main threats were small arms and grenades, that trade-off made sense. But we are not in that world anymore. Today, the single greatest threat to Ukrainian armored vehicles is the FPV drone, cheap, fast, precise, and lethal. Russia is launching swarms of these kamikaze unmanned aircraft at lightly armored targets every single day. And the M113's aluminum hull, for all its historical cleverness, simply cannot hold up against them. Since the start of the war, open-source intelligence group Oryx has visually confirmed over 500 Ukrainian M113 losses. And Oryx only counts what can be proven with photographs and video. The real number is almost certainly higher. Ukrainian crews have tried to fight back creatively. You've probably seen the footage M113s bristling with hedgehog-style metal spikes jutting out in every direction. The idea is smart. When a drone closes in, it hits a spike instead of the hull, detonating prematurely or breaking apart before it can do real damage. The same spikes can deflect dropped munitions, causing them to explode further from the vehicle. It works, to a degree, but it's a patch job, not a solution. Fitting those spikes takes time and labor that soldiers don't have. The extra weight slows the vehicle down, which can actually make it a bigger, easier target, potentially canceling out the very protection those spikes were meant to add. Getting troops in and out quickly becomes more complicated. In a war that punishes hesitation, every one of those problems matters. What Ukraine really needed wasn't a modified M113. It needed something built from scratch with these threats in mind. Something stronger, something smarter, something designed for 2026, not 1962. Enter the Skiff. Created by Kyiv-based defense firm UKR Armote Tech, the Skiff is deliberately engineered to feel familiar to crews who've spent time in an M113, but with defenses that are in a completely each of its next-generation armored multi-purpose vehicles. Ukraine can't write blank checks. It has to be smart about where every dollar goes. A cost-effective, domestically produced, battle-tested APC could be exactly the kind of investment that pays dividends for years to come. What's also impressive is how this vehicle came to be. UKR Armote Tech didn't design the Skiff in a boardroom disconnected from reality. They went directly to the soldiers. The company's CEO, Gennady Kirichenko, told Defense Express plainly, "They built this vehicle around what Ukrainian troops actually need, based on real conversations with real fighters on the front line." Troops made clear they needed more tracked vehicles, not wheeled alternatives, because tracks hold up against mines, artillery fragments, and rough terrain in ways that wheels simply can't match. The Skiff is the answer to that conversation. Now, it's important to be clear about expectations here. The Skiff isn't going to replace the M113 overnight. That's not how any of this works. Ukraine still has hundreds of these American APCs in service, and throwing them away would be absurd. The M113 still has genuine value for troop transport, evacuation, resupply, and it will keep being used. What you'll most likely see is a gradual integration, with skiffs being prioritized for the highest risk missions where their superior armor actually matters most, while M113s continue handling lower intensity tasks in relatively safer areas. A full transition, if it ever happens, is years away. But here's what's not years away. Ukraine now has a blueprint, a domestic, combat-designed, soldier-informed APC that exists, works, and is already moving toward production. If the funding comes together, this could become a cornerstone of Ukraine's future ground forces. And if the export market opens up other nations looking for a tough, affordable, modern APC, UKR Armote Tech could be sitting on something truly significant. The Skiff is more than a vehicle. It's proof that Ukraine's defense industry has moved well beyond simply receiving weapons from allies and hoping for the best. They are now building the future of their own military and doing it faster and smarter than almost anyone expected.